one thing about hotels is like, we come into a room and it's pristine. The labor is there, but we don't actually recognize it. So I really wanted to make that more of a confrontation. So in the performance, though that space was open to a public, people came into a hotel room and watched people cleaning and dancing in a hotel room. I trained as a ballet dancer and also in modern dance techniques early on in my life. That work stopped due to injury, and then there was a hiatus where I didn't talk about dance, didn't work in dance. And recently, in the last 5 years, I've been bringing dance back slowly into my work. In the process of being a dancer, there was always the sort of setbacks. Like I was always othered in that process, either being too small, having, not the perfect desired feet, but then having an injury that actually stopped the possibility of actually doing it. And so coming back to it as someone who took 15 years away from it, coming back to it, you realize your body is not that same body. And there's those vulnerabilities, those insecurities, and those are the things that I actually work with in my work. So I'm not using my own body, but I'm being very much still aware of it, thinking about my body, thinking about, other bodies, the agency of dancers, the value of dancers. How do we give value to those bodies that are performing, seemingly looking effortless, but they're enduring and fatiguing? I'm definitely looking at the body and the choreography of the body in its everyday. There is, the romantic side of the dance where the dance takes over and we see the body doing things that seem like it's, effortless, but the body is in fortitude, the body is enduring. And I also think about that with regards to everyday labor. I always go into the periphery spaces of performance. Specifically with dancers, I think about conditioning, the rehearsal, those sort of spaces that are private spaces, and I make them available to an audience. Cleaning itself is a gesture of labor, but also has a specific kind of choreography. So the piece in New York, Clean Labor, took place at the Wythe Hotel, and it was a piece that kind of focused on the gestures of cleaning, where a dancer in duet with a cleaning staff of the hotel cleaned together, but each doing their own sort of gestures, which are both laboring gestures. And at the end is this idea that this room gets cleaned. And it's something that we don't see. And I'm really questioning this idea of invisibility and trying to make visible those gestures to give it a sense of strength and agency. I use ballet as a structure of hegemony in my work. Ballet is a formal dance that is a Western pivot. It was created by the French in the court of Louis XIV and started as a way to bow to the king. So those sort of gestures were already about the body giving itself to another body, to acknowledge your role in society. For me, with the Clean Labor performance, it was something where I really wanted to bring, again, visibility to this work, and the fact that, most of the cleaning staff of hotels are immigrant workers. But I was also thinking about, why is this skill devalued, de-skilled as not being work? Many immigrants come to America and then they come with trades and professions, but they're not acknowledged in our country or this country. And so I'm questioning that idea of what that value, what can that be? The dancer at certain times would come and tap the cleaning staff on their shoulder, and that was the signal, the cue to stop. And the cleaning staff had to stop and stand there or sit, but take a break. And that was very challenging for them because that's not part of their everyday, but also now they have an audience. And so I was very careful with the idea that, the cleaning staff aren't performers, but how do we give them a sense of understanding the space? We talked about it. A lot of them are artists themselves who do art on the side, so they understood. But it just is a strange dynamic in that space. So again, talking about power dynamics, you have the dancer saying, stop, take a break. But then your break isn't really a break because there's an audience there watching you. So what is that confrontation? Does it make you vulnerable as the cleaner, as the dancer? Does it make the audience vulnerable? Watching someone clean is something that is, I think, an uncomfortable act. And to see someone do it, but also thinking about the precise details of how to wipe a counter, how to make a bed, those things are really interesting choreographies for me as well, but ones that also create a utilitarian purpose for an action, for a reason. And I'm really curious about those spaces in our everyday choreography. I've always been a maker. I've always been thinking about the question of the handmade and the foot made, and thinking it through, being a performer, making dance with my feet, but also creating objects with my hands. Working with dancers, it's this collaboration, you're working with a living working body, a personality, a human who also is contributing back to you. So there is that exchange and value that is dance, which is so important and why I love working with dancers. I've used the word agency a lot through this conversation, and for me, agency is giving empowerment, giving voice, when I say this, I say specifically to dancers in this example, to give a sense of power, a sense of voice to that person. And I feel that sometimes, even for myself as a young dancer, I was never given that opportunity. I just did what I was told. And the dance world can be like that, but I really want to create that agency for the dancer. So it's giving them a voice. So when we work together, it's very collaborative. We talk about things, we discuss what we're doing, and they have an input into changing it or making it be something as well. So for me, that is what agency is. It's valuing the person I'm collaborating with.